Mr. Torrance, and as well as being one of the assistant head teachers here at St Joseph's, I also teach business studies to the sixth form. From September, I'm going to be timetabled for a Year 12 and a Year 13 business class, so I hope to see some of you then. I'm standing here at the moment in my classroom, which has been set up for social distancing. But we didn't want you to miss out on finding out more about the topics that you might study in the subjects in September, but also some of the reasons why we love teaching our subjects. So what I'm going to do is not reel off a list of topics that you might be able to find online or in prospectuses, but to talk to you about some of the elements of the course that I really enjoy teaching. Before we get too far into that, I'd like you to watch this short video clip.
Since the days of Margaret Thatcher, the image of the Conservatives in many parts of the country has been of a party that just doesn't care that much about mass unemployment. That's an impression that the current Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, in his summer statement, sought to vanquish entirely.
I want every person in this House and in the country to know that I will never accept unemployment as an unavoidable outcome.
That's a far cry from the view once expressed by his predecessor Norman Lamont, who said that high unemployment was a price worth paying for controlling inflation. Mr. Sunak said his summer statement was first and foremost a plan for jobs. So how does it measure up? Well, there's funding for a kickstart scheme of state-funded work placements for young people on benefits with an estimated cost of £2 billion, and there's £1.6 billion for increasing job centre staffing and upgrading people's skills. Employment experts are unanimous in praising all of that, saying that it shows the Treasury has heeded the lessons from previous recessions. However, the biggest measure is a £1,000 grant available to employers for every employee they bring back from furlough, something that could cost up to £9 billion depending on take-up. That's more contentious, with some saying it would have been better to target the support at specific badly hit sectors such as restaurants and hotels. The Chancellor, though, did try to focus support on those areas through a VAT cut for hospitality businesses from 20% to 5%, and also through a Eat Out to Help Out meal subsidy scheme. The hope here is that cheaper menu prices and the promise of a discount for diners will get these firms bustling with customers again, encouraging them to hire and retain staff. It could work. Many of the better off will have saved money in the lockdown. Yet the danger is that even the lure of cheaper prices will not get people out if they're concerned about the possibility of getting the infection. The cost of the overall stimulus package, put at up to £30 billion by the Treasury, is sizable, but it could have been bigger. Some were calling for a fiscal stimulus double that size. The Chancellor signalled there might be more to come in the autumn budget. But by then, many businesses will already have made their decisions about staffing, and unemployment could be rising fast. Mr. Sunak might end up wishing that he'd gone all in on his economic and job support package sooner.
So one of the topics I find most interesting is regards to the economic environment of the country and the world. Now, we can't ignore the current situation that we're in with coronavirus and what impact that's going to have on our economy and on the money in our pocket, but also the businesses that we spend money in, day out. You've just seen a video clip that highlights some of the money that the government is currently spending on supporting the economy and supporting businesses around the UK. The question there is, how much money have we spent? And the answer is billions and billions of pounds. Now, the reason that I like teaching this topic is that it changes every year. How the government spent money on businesses and us last year is very different to this year, and was very different to the time that I started teaching the course. So if I give you a bit of context, the coronavirus has brought large parts of the economy to a standstill, and the government has had to spend billions of pounds to support workers, businesses and the NHS. So just last week, the Chancellor delivered an economic update on the next stage of the government's plan to rebuild the economy. And he announced a package worth up to £30 billion, which included plans to protect jobs, help younger workers and encourage spending. But one of the things that we look at in Unit 1 actually of Year 12 is, where does all this money that the government spends actually come from? It obviously, a large proportion of it comes from us and the money that we pay, or your parents pay at least, into the government via taxes. But if we look at the coronavirus, which we will continue looking at in September because it's such an apt topic, It's still very early on in the crisis, so we need to ask the question, how much will it actually cost the UK in terms of money? It's impossible to tell how big the final bill will be. It's likely to be more than £300 billion just for this financial year. So this financial year, I mean April 2020 to April 2021. Now that's an enormous sum. And just to put it into a bit of context for you, before the crisis, the government was expecting to borrow approximately £50 billion for the whole of the financial year. So that's the whole year from April 2020 to April 2021. It had borrowed £100 billion in the first 2 months alone. So you can see the impact that this is having on the government, and consequently the impact that it will have on each one of us, and also the impact it is having on businesses. You can see from the lists that I'm going through on the screen, and also some of the slides, the number of businesses which have disappeared or are about to disappear throughout the crisis because people aren't spending money. People haven't got money to spend, or they're not allowed out to spend it. So that's one small topic that we cover at the start of year 12, which I think is really interesting and very appropriate at the time. There's lots of other topics and modules that we do. We do a marketing unit where we look at how businesses advertise themselves, including online and using social media. We look at how businesses recruit people, so that's hire them, and how they fire them. We look at how businesses make money and work out that they're actually making money in accountancy units. So lots of other different wide-ranging topics across the 2 years. And we've also got a little bit of flexibility where we can choose some topics depending on what the class want and what they're interested in. So a little bit of an insight into what's covered in business studies. I hope you found it interesting. If you've got any other questions or you want to find out more information, please look at the website, but feel free to get in touch with me too, and I can try and answer anything that you want to ask. Enjoy your summer break, take care, and we hope to see you soon in September. Thanks very much.